Did you know that in 2017's A Hat in Time, you can find a TV with a very familiar start screen? So this start screen is a reference to the start screen of 1998's Metal Gear Solid. It's probably no coincidence that you can find this in one of the brilliant platformer's few stealth levels. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Video Game Easter Eggs, the series where we cover some of the best Easter eggs found in video games. As always, if you think you know of a video game Easter egg that I'm yet to cover, then let me know in the comments and I will do my best to check it out. Anyway, without further delay, let's get started. Right, let's start today's video with a game that I bet you weren't expecting to see in an Easter egg video in 2022. Skyrim originally released all the way back in 2011 and has of course seen many different re-releases since then. The chances are that if you're watching this video, you've probably played Skyrim at some point. With that in mind, I find it strange that there are still Easter eggs in the Bethesda classic that I didn't know about, and I'm hoping you didn't too. First up, in Skuldafn, before entering the portal, you can find a fireplace with a very familiar face. Okay, so I know I said familiar face, and potatoes don't actually have faces, but when it comes to potatoes, this one should be pretty recognisable. This potato is GLaDOS. Well, GLaDOS after she was trapped in a battery by Wheatley.
Oh, hi. So, how are you holding up? Because I'm a potato.
The other Skyrim Easter egg that I never knew about until recently is quite handy. Don't worry, you'll understand that pun in a minute. When travelling the wilds of Skyrim, you can find this. So this hand offering a sword is a reference to the story of King Arthur, though in that story the Lady of the Lake held Excalibur instead of a steel sword. Now that I think about it, it's not a particularly common story to reference in video games, with the only other game that I can think of that has referenced it being Rise Son of Rome. The next Easter egg comes from the Easter egg packed Serious Sam Siberian Mayhem, and it references a game series that has always terrified me. Loads of you have asked why there has been no Elden Ring content on this channel. Okay, perhaps a few of you asked, but you get what I mean. Anyway, the reason for the lack of Elden Ring content is just that I'm really bad at it. Don't get me wrong, I fully intend on giving it another go, but not before spending some time reading about what everything actually means. The reason I bring this up is because Siberian Mayhem is about as close as I've come to actually being good at a Souls game. Let me explain. During the Siberian level, you can find this. Okay, a sword and a bonfire, nothing that we haven't seen 1,000 times before. Well, if you continue to follow the stairs, this will happen. So much like the boss encounters in the Souls games, you are trapped in a room and forced to fight some very powerful enemies. These enemies will even repeatedly roll, a move that many Souls players will be familiar with. It's great to see developers actually making an effort with Dark Souls references now, instead of lazily placing a sword in a bonfire. Right, let me ask you a quick question. How many of you played Rainbow Six Extraction at launch and are still playing now? I'm no expert, but I'm guessing it's not many of you. I'm not saying that Extraction was a bad game. I enjoyed the short time that I spent with it, but it got pretty stale pretty quickly. Seeing as it was a Ubisoft game though, there were quite a few Easter eggs to find, some of which we've already seen in this series. The first Extraction Easter egg for today's video perhaps hints at a future Rainbow Six spin-off game. On the San Francisco map, you can find this.
Drone ready.
So Hidden Out of Bounds is a rocket-powered shopping cart. The only way to access it is with your drone. But who knows, this could be foreshadowing a future Rainbow Six kart game, and to be honest, I don't hate the idea. The other extraction Easter egg is perhaps the best Easter egg in the entire game. Yes, even better than the underwhelming recruit being eaten by a shark Easter egg. On the Alaska map, you can find this. So removing the warning sign reveals snowmen versions of Ash and Montaigne. What makes this Easter egg so cool is that if you shoot the snowmen, this will happen. If there's one reason to play Rainbow Six Extraction again, then I think this Easter egg might be it. Speaking of games with great Easter eggs, one of the all-time greats has to be the Talos Principle. What seems to be a straightforward puzzle game actually has tons of hidden Easter eggs and secrets. There is one Easter egg though that I cannot recall seeing before. On level B7, if you head to this tree, you can find a sign that says "Don't look up." Well, let's see what happens if we do. So looking up will cause a coconut to fall from the tree, temporarily blurring your vision. I mean, you can't say you weren't warned. So recently, Bloons TD6 received an update, which, among other things, added a new hero. Geraldo is a mystic shopkeeper who lets you buy a wide array of items from his shop. He can deal with certain balloons himself, but his real power lies within that shop. Amongst the many items that you can buy from Geraldo is a pet rabbit. This fluffy white bunny can hold its own when it comes to balloons, though you're limited to the amount of bunnies you can place at one time. Well, if we head to sandbox mode, where there is no limit, and place down 4 rabbits, this will happen.
There you are.
So the once cute bunnies are now transformed into a killer rabbit with glowing red eyes. This is a reference to the killer white rabbit from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. The Psycho Bunny in Bloons isn't quite as vicious as the one seen in Monty Python, but it does make short work of rubber sacks filled with air. Oh, and one more thing, I'm not sure if you can summon 4 bunnies in an actual game, or at the least if you can, I haven't worked out how to do it. So I think that this only works in sandbox mode, but I'm probably wrong. Okay, let's end today's video with LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Over the past week, I've covered tons of the Skywalker Saga, and I think, fingers crossed, we might be getting to a point where we haven't missed anything. The first Skywalker Saga Easter egg is actually a callback to a previous LEGO Star Wars game. When on the Trade Federation battleship, if you place all of the chairs at the table, this will happen. So the chairs will begin to dance. This is a nod to the same room from LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, where the chairs would do the same dance. It's a great bit of fan service. The final Skywalker Saga Easter egg is an actual Easter egg. On the Hoth and Cold level, you can find this. Yep, it's an actual Easter egg. I wouldn't be surprised if more of these Easter eggs could be found in other levels, so if you spotted any, then please let me know. So that's it. If you enjoyed this video, then leaving a like is really appreciated. If you are a fan of Easter eggs and secrets in video games, then perhaps consider subscribing, as that's what this channel is all about. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.